why my YouTube thing ain't going. It's kind of, oh, that's, wow, okay, there's a weird error messages up there. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. Yep, I think my voice is starting to give out. It's okay. We will get through this. We will. Indeed, we will. And bow, bow, bow. Froze. Oh no, it's back, it's back. Good lord, that was terrible. Actually, yeah, all my monitor froze too. Who knows what's happening? I don't know. What's going on? Okay, it's back. Maybe, you know, I'm just gonna bust it down to the 320p. There we go. We'll do something like that. Looks like we got a bunch of lurky lurks left over from last night, which is nice. Good morning, everyone. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Good times. Well, maybe not the bacon stuff, but it's all good. Let's get that tweet out there. Bloop. There we go. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, it is. It is the internet's today. Good morning, Tillable Cats. Good morning, Tillable Cat. And the Lizard King and the Lizard King. And the Shadow Pups are there as well, all three of them. Well, there's kind of like two, but they just cause so much mischief you'd think there was three. So much trouble. I don't think anyone expected that when we changed the clocks earlier this month, we'd go from standard time to the Twilight Zone. I like that one. That's a good one. See, I got my coffee. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I am out of artificial sweetener. Not happy. And I buy it by the 1,000. Down from the old Smart and Final. It wasn't even on my pre-pandemic grocery list. But now we're out. It's gone. It's all done. Oh, well. We will make it through the day. Yes, we will. We will indeed. Bum, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. There we go. There we go. And good morning everyone. How you all doing? Yeah. Good times today. Alrighty, well here we go. But which one do I use? It's the blue one. I use it's the store generic one. The I guess the store. Yeah, it's I forget what they call it. It's in the little blue packet though, and but it's not the name brand stuff. It's the store. You just buy it in like packets of 1,000 little blue packets, and it's like $7. Great. There we go. Coffee should be drunk black and strong. Well, it depends. Like like the first cup of the day, I like something with a bit of cream in it, and a bit of artificial sweetener. It's kind of nice. If I'm working, if I'm reading, or you know, if I have to record something, you can't have any dairy or whatever at all. So yeah, black coffee all the way. Yeah, which is quite nice as well. Oh, Q-Tip hooked us up with an auto host. Thank you for that. Random Bloke hooked us up too. Good morning, Blitzberg. Good morning. Good morning. We're about to get started in just a couple of minutes. Just chit-chatting for a couple before we get on going. Whoop, I need to change the title. It's the Horde of the Gibberlins. Man, that was, that was an interesting end to that story yesterday. This is PG Wodehouse. Okay, that's what we're reading. Righto, Jeeves. Part 7. We only have 3 chapters to go. Only 3 chapters to go. Very good. Oh, Chris Alberti's here? Or was that just a... that was a retweet. That was a retweet. Nice. Wow, tell you what. I think more people need to be like Mr. Chris Alberti. Oh, yes. Let me just grab that thing here. If anyone... let me just copy link there. If anyone would like to share the link to the stream on their favorite social media platform, please, by all means, go for it. Or even just retweeting this morning's announcement about what we're doing, which is basically, please come watch the stream. Anyway, I'm sure someone knows someone.
Tillable Cat 8011 sent 100 embers with the message, excited, eggs, bacon and black coffee. Breakfast of champions.
Eggs, bacon, and black coffee. Breakfast. Yeah, that actually does sound pretty good. Pretty good. Man, you know, I haven't eaten bacon in years, but I certainly do remember that it tasted fantastic. Yeah, good stuff. And thank you for the embers, of course. But yeah, you know, I gotta say, right now, I've just realized the past couple of weeks I've not been eating breakfast. Okay, I think I need to, I think I need to get that back on track. Yeah. Well, you know, everything's a little weird right now. Yeah. You all know. Anyway, as I was saying, yes. So, but thank you once again, Tillable Cat. I like their members. So, if we are, what are we doing? We are, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, I'm sure we all know someone who is stuck at home, whether from school or from work, who needs like a nice little distraction for a couple of hours every day. It's just some light entertainment, something personable, something where they can maybe say something and interact with other people for a little bit of time. Just take their mind off of things. If you know someone like that, get on there, get in contact with them, and just be like, hey, we know this place where you can go a couple of hours almost every single day, and they'll sometimes it's story time. Most of the time it's just waffle. But we have some story time too. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, Rose. Blitzberg is all about that bacon as well. Shadowtronics is Arby's has a new maple brown sugar bacon. Oh my! You know, I've forgotten how many years I've been a vegetarian for now. But you know, when I think about it, I can still summon up what bacon used to taste like. I can still remember what it used to taste like, and it was good. No denying it. It was very good. It was. But yeah, that was then. Alrighty. I thought you already had it there, Shadowtronics. Let me just pick that real fast. 1 second. Let's see. Standard or deluxe or what? There's a whole bunch of them. There. Oh, it's all good, Blitzberg. It's all good. I'm certainly not offended by the sight of bacon or other people enjoying their bacon. That's just my thing. Just standard. Okay, there we go. Yeah, grab that bad boy for you. There you go. And bloop. Okay, in theory it works. I don't know if it works or not. Who knows? Go back for where? What? Oh, you no, no, Shadow, no. Yeah. Well, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. All right. Good morning, Hexagraph. Hexagraph. Good morning. Bacon and women are the same. They both smell good and slowly kill you. That's okay. Alrighty. That's one take, I guess. That's yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thank you for the host there, Hexagraph. Okay, we're about to get started in a couple of minutes. There we go. If I don't know if anyone else has any news, but well, I can't think of any. Later today, we're going to be gaming. We'll be doing some Halo Wars 2. We'll be doing some Halo Master Chief Collection. I need someone to get me through the final level of Halo CE Legendary Co-op, and then we need, what else do we need? Oh, we'll be doing some Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge as well. Tell you what, that game is actually, it was actually more fun than it was in the beta. Yeah, I gave that a crack last night. Got together a team there. It was, yeah, once you start getting familiar with all the characters' abilities and the like, it all started coming together there. The big thing, though, you have to have communication going on. You have to be constantly letting everyone know where you are, what you're doing, where we're headed, all of that. Because once your team gets split up, no, the other team will just hunt you down like a pack of wolves on a lone sheep. Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. Alrighty. Let's see. What else is there? Yes, so that's what we're doing tonight. It's going to be yeah, a bit of Halo Wars 2, a bit of Halo Master Chief Collection, and some Bleeding Edge. There we go. Yeah. Definitely do the tutorial, Shadowtronics. Yeah, it helps immensely because there's a lot of non-intuitive stuff in there. Alrighty. Where are we at? Well, I think we're probably good to go. I know people are popping in here to hear some story time. I shall accommodate. Actually, this is what else I had to say. Today we're reading the final 3 chapters of Righto, Jeeves. And tomorrow, so that means tomorrow there's no novel, and I'm not starting a new novel on a Thursday, because then you have to wait till Monday to continue. Okay, so tomorrow's going to be short stories. And Sunday is also going to be short stories, because, short story Sunday. I am taking suggestions. I know Rose has posted a couple there. I'll be picking up at least one, if not more, of her suggestions. She got some good ones. If you are a creative writer too, if you have something you'd like to share with our audience here, I'm certainly more than happy to read that as well. So anyway, that's the plan for Thursday and Sunday. Monday, starting a brand new novel, Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers, which is supposed to be a very, very, very good murder mystery. Yeah, so that should be good. Who done it? I don't know. There's probably a butler around, maybe by the name of Jeeves. If so, that's the one that done it. Your son is post-grad and he showed you some books? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of great public domain material out there, Rose. Yeah, that one that you did, the lottery. Yeah, I actually I read that in a collection of short stories last year. Yeah, it's a very I guess famous, in some places infamous kind of short story. A lot of it was kind of controversial when it came out. And there we go. If it's not too long, can we do the alt version of To Start a Fire? Oh yeah. That'd be a good one. To Start a Fire, yeah, by Jack London, yeah. Yeah, I forgot which version we read now. We'll have, we definitely do have to revisit that. But yeah, that would be a good one. All right, let's see. let us, I guess let's get on with it. I don't have any more news. It's 1:15. And we should do it. That's the wrong screen. This is the right screen. There we go. Something like that. Very good. And yeah. Let us get. Wow, my FTL is way off right now. Terrible. Okay, it's okay though. We don't need it. Okay, so everything is falling apart for Bertram Wooster. His aunt has finally had it up to the neck with him. He's basically screwed up everyone's relationships. Everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. Anatole's probably going to quit again. Madeline Bassett has decided that she wants to marry Bertram Wooster, and I'm pretty sure he's not the marrying kind. Yeah. All right. So let us continue. Okay. This is the aunt. Yeah. I hope it keeps fine for you, said the relative, and passed from the room looking like something out of an Edgar Allan Poe story. Chapter 21. I don't suppose I was looking so dashed unlike something out of an Edgar Allan Poe story myself, for as you can readily imagine, the news item which I had just recorded had got in amongst me properly. If the Bassett, in the belief that the Wooster heart had long been hers, and was waiting ready to be scooped in on demand, had decided to take up her option, I should, as a man of honor and sensibility, have had no choice but... Good Lord! Well, there we go. Yeah. Well, good morning. Who was asleep? Who was trying to take a little nap right there? Not anymore, I bet. Yeah. Thank you, Shadowtronics. It is delayed. It is. Thank you, Shadowtronics. Yeah. Throwing around them gift subs. I like it. There we go. Thank you for that, Shadowtronics. That was one for the old Halo Collector there. Halo Collector. Hardwired Weird is already awake. Alrighty. I'm sure half the viewers here are now stuck to the ceiling like a cat with their claws dug in deep. Too many loot boxes is trying to sleep. Alright, fair enough. Okay. Thank you, Shadowtronics. Let's we continue. We continue. If the Bassett, in the belief that the Wooster heart had long been hers and was waiting, ready to be scooped in on demand, had decided to take up her option, I should, as a man of honor and sensibility, have no choice but to come across and kick in. The matter was obviously not one that could be straightened out with a curt nol prosequi. All the evidence, therefore, seemed to point to the fact that the doom had come upon me, and, what was more, had come to stay. Good morning, Voda. Good morning, Voda. Yeah, your heart jumped out and climbed the sofa, all right? Good morning, Gamer Sass. Gamer Sass. Good morning. And yet, though it would be idle to pretend that my grip on the situation was quite the grip I would have liked it to be, I did not despair of arriving at a solution. A lesser man, caught in this awful snare, would no doubt have thrown in the towel at once, and ceased to struggle. But the whole point about the Woosters is that they are not lesser men. By way of a start, I read the note again. Not that I had any hope that a second perusal would enable me to place a different construction on its contents, but it helped to fill in while the brain was limbering up. I then, to assist thought, had another go at the fruit salad, and, in addition, ate a slice of sponge cake. And it was as I passed on to the cheese that the machinery started working. I saw what had to be done. To the question which had been exercising the mind, viz., can Bertram cope? I was now able to reply with a confident absolutely. The great wheeze on these occasions of dirty work at the crossroads is not to lose your head, but to keep cool and try to find the ringleaders. Once find the ringleaders, and you know where you are. The ringleader here was plainly the Basset. It was she who had started the whole imbroglio by chucking Gussie, and it was clear that before anything could be done to solve and clarify, she must be induced to revise her views and take him on again. This would put Angela back into circulation, and that would cause Tuppy to simmer down a bit, and then we could begin to get somewhere. I decided that as soon as I had had another morsel of cheese, I would seek this Basset out and be pretty eloquent. And at this moment, in she came. I might have foreseen that she would be turning up shortly. I mean to say, hearts may ache, but if they know that there is a cold collation set out in the dining room, they are pretty sure to come popping in sooner or later. That's like the cold collation is like their help yourself to breakfast cold cuts kind of deal. Her eyes, as she entered the room, were fixed on the salmon mayonnaise, and she would no doubt have made a beeline for it and started getting hers, had I not, in the emotion of seeing her, dropped a glass of the best, with which I was endeavoring to bring about a calmer frame of mind. The noise caused her to turn, and for an instant embarrassment supervened. A slight flush mantled the cheek, and the eyes popped out a bit. "Oh," she said. "I have always found that there is nothing that helps to ease you over one of these awkward moments like a spot of stage business. Find something to do with your hands, and it's half the battle." I grabbed a plate and hastened forward. "A touch of salmon?" "Thank you." "With a suspicion of salad?" "Oh, if you please." "And to drink, name the poison." "I think I would like a little orange juice." She gave a gulp. Not at the orange juice, I don't mean, because she hadn't got it yet, but at all the tender associations those words provoked. It was as if someone had mentioned spaghetti to the relict of an Italian organ grinder. Her face flushed a deeper shade. She registered anguish, and I saw that it was no longer within the sphere of practical politics to try to confine the conversation to neutral topics like cold-boiled salmon. So did she, I imagine, for when I, as a preliminary to getting down to brass tacks, said, she said, too, simultaneously, the brace of ers clashing in mid-air. "I'm sorry." "I beg your pardon. You were saying—" "You were saying—" "No, please go on." "Oh, righto." I straightened the tie, my habit when in this girl's society, and had at it. "With reference to yours of even date." She flushed again and took a rather strained forkful of salmon. "You got my note?" "Yes, I got your note." "I gave it to Jeeves to give it to you." "Yes, he gave it to me. That's how I got it." There was another silence. And as she was plainly shrinking from talking turkey, I was reluctantly compelled to do so too. I mean, somebody— let's do that. There was another silence, and as she was plainly shrinking from talking turkey, I was reluctantly compelled to do so. I mean, somebody had got to. Too dashed silly, a male and female in our position, simply standing, eating salmon and cheese at one another without a word. "Yes, I got it all right." "I see, you got it." "Yes, I got it. I've just been reading it, and what I was rather wanting to ask you, if we happen to run into each other, was— well, what about it?" "What about it?" "That's what I say. What about it?" "But it was quite clear." Oh, quite. Perfectly clear. Very well expressed and all that. But, I mean, deeply sensible of the honor and so forth. But, well, dash it. She had polished off her salmon and now put the plate down. Fruit salad? No, thank you. Spot of pie? No, no, go the wrong way around. Fruit salad? No, thank you. Spot of pie? No, thanks. One of those glue things on toast? No, thank you. She took a cheese straw. I found a cold egg which I had overlooked. Then I said, I mean to say, just as she said, I think I know, and there was another collision. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. Do go on. No, you go on. I waved my cold egg courteously to indicate that she had the floor, and she started again. I think I know what you're trying to say. You are surprised. Yes. You are thinking of... Exactly. Mr. Finknottle. The very man. You find what I have done hard to understand? Absolutely. I don't wonder. I do, and yet it is quite simple. She took another cheese straw. She seemed to like cheese straws. Quite simple, really. I want to make you happy. Dashed decent of you. I'm going to devote the rest of my life to making you happy. A very matey scheme. I can at least do that, but may I be quite frank with you, Bertie? Oh, rather. Then I must tell you this. I am fond of you. I will marry you. I will do my best to make you a good wife, but my affection for you can never be the flame-like passion I felt for Augustus. Just the very point I was working round to. There, as you say, is the snag. Why not chuck the whole idea of hitching up with me? Wash it out altogether. I mean, if you love old Gussie. No longer. Oh, come. No. What happened this afternoon has killed my love. A smear of ugliness has been drawn across a thing of beauty, and I can never feel towards him as I did. I saw what she meant, of course. Gussie had bunged his heart at her feet. She had picked it up, and almost immediately after doing so had discovered that he had been stewed to the eyebrows all the time. The shock must have been severe. No girl likes to feel that a chap has got to be thoroughly plastered before he can ask her to marry him. It wounds the pride. Good morning, Lightning. Good morning, Lightning. How you doing? You can feel the conversation, guy. The tillable cat and hardwired. Oh, sorry, hexagraph, rather. Oh, Dragon's Lair. Wow, everyone's piling in. No girl likes to feel that a chap has got to be thoroughly plastered before he can ask her to marry him. It wounds the pride. Nevertheless, I persevered. But have you considered, I said, that you may have got a wrong line on Gussie's performance this afternoon? Admitted that all the evidence points to a more sinister theory. What price him simply having got a touch of the sun? Chaps do get touches of the sun, you know, especially when the weather's hot. She looked at me, and I saw that she was putting in a bit of the old drenched irises stuff. It was like you to say that, Bertie. I respect you for it. Oh, no. Yes, you have a splendid chivalrous soul. Oh, not a bit. Yes, you have. You remind me of Cyrano. Who? Cyrano de Bergerac. The chap with the nose? Yes. I can't say I was any too pleased. I felt the old beak furtively. It was a bit on the prominent side, perhaps, but, dash it, not in the Cyrano class. It began to look as if the next thing this girl would do would be to compare me to Schnozzle Durante. He loved, but pleaded another's cause. No, there's her. He loved, but pleaded another's cause. Oh, I see what you mean now. I like you for that, Bertie. It was fine of you, fine and big, but it's no use. There are things which kill love. I can never forget Augustus, but my love for him is dead. I will be your wife. Well, one has to be civil. Righto, I said. Thanks awfully. Then the dialogue sort of poofed out once more, and we stood eating cheese straws and cold eggs, respectively, in silence. There seemed to exist some little uncertainty as to what the next move was. Fortunately, before embarrassment could do much more supervening, Angela came in, and this broke up the meeting. Then Bassett announced our engagement, and Angela kissed her and said she hoped she would be very, very happy, and the Bassett kissed her and said she hoped she would be very, very happy with Gussie, and Angela said she was sure she would, because Augustus was such a dear, and the Bassett kissed her again, and Angela kissed her again, and, in a word, the whole... There. Good morning, Lady Death. Good morning. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay, let's just start this paragraph again. Run-on sentences for days. Fortunately, before embarrassment could do much more supervening, Angela came in, and this broke up the meeting. Then Bassett announced our engagement, and Angela kissed her and said she hoped she would be very, very happy, and the Bassett kissed her and said she hoped she would be very, very happy with Gussie, and Angela said she was sure she would, because Augustus was such a dear, and the Bassett kissed her again, and Angela kissed her again, and, in a word, the whole thing got so bally feminine that I was glad to edge away. I would have been glad to do so, of course, in any case, for if ever there was a moment when it was up to Bertram to think, and think hard, this moment was that moment. It was, it seemed to me, the end. Not even on the occasion, some years earlier, when I had inadvertently become betrothed to Tuppy's frightful cousin Honoria, had I experienced a deeper sense of being waist-high in the gumbo and about to sink without trace. I wandered out into the garden, smoking a tortured gasper, with the iron well embedded in the soul. And I had fallen into a sort of trance, trying to picture what it would be like having the Bassett on the premises for the rest of my life, and at the same time, if you follow me, trying not to picture what it would be like when I charged into something which might have been a tree, but was not, being, in point of fact, Jeeves. "I beg your pardon, sir," he said. "I should have moved to one side." I did not reply. I stood looking at him in silence, for the sight of him had opened up a new line of thought. This Jeeves, now, I reflected. I had formed the opinion that he had lost his grip and was no longer the force he had been, but was it not possible, I asked myself, that I might be mistaken? Start him off exploring avenues, and might he not discover one through which I would be enabled to sneak off to safety, leaving no hard feelings behind? I found myself answering that it was quite on the cards that he might. After all, his head still bulged out of the back, as of old. One noted in the eyes the same intelligent glitter. Mind you, after what had passed between us in the matter of that white mess jacket with brass buttons, I was not prepared absolutely to hand over to the man. I would, of course, merely take him into consultation. But recalling some of his earlier triumphs, the Sipperley case, the episode of my Aunt Agatha and the dog Mackintosh, and the smoothly handled affair of Uncle George and the barmaid's niece, were a few that sprang to my mind. I felt justified at least in offering him the opportunity of coming to the aid of the young master in his hour of peril. But before proceeding further, there was one thing that had got to be understood between us, and understood clearly. "Jeeves," I said, "a word with you."
"Sir?"
"I am up against it a bit, Jeeves."
"I am sorry to hear that, sir. Can I be of any assistance?"
"Quite possibly you can, if you have not lost your grip. Tell me frankly, Jeeves, are you in pretty good shape mentally?"
"Yes, sir."
"Still eating plenty of fish?"
"Oh, yes, sir."
"Then it may be all right, but there is just one point before I begin. In the past, when you have contrived to extricate self or some pal from some little difficulty, you have frequently shown a disposition to take advantage of my gratitude, to gain some private end. Those purple socks, for instance. Also the +4s and the old Etonian spats. Choosing your moment with subtle cunning, you came to me when I was weakened by relief and got me to get rid of them. And what I am saying now is that if you are successful on the present occasion, there must be no rot of that description about that mess jacket of mine."
"Very good, sir."
"You will not come to me when all is over and ask me to jettison the jacket?"
"Certainly not, sir."
"On that understanding, then, I will carry on. Jeeves, I'm engaged."
"I hope you will be very happy, sir."
Don't be an ass. I'm engaged to Miss Bassett."
"Indeed, sir. I was not aware—"
Nor was I. It came as a complete surprise. However, there it is. The official intimation was in that note you brought me."
"Odd, sir."
What is?"
"Odd, sir, that the contents of that note should have been as you describe. It seemed to me that Miss Bassett, when she handed me the communication, was far from being in a happy frame of mind."
"She is far from being in a happy frame of mind. You don't suppose she really wants to marry me, do you?" "Pshaw, Jeeves, can't you see that this is simply another of those bally gestures which are rapidly rendering Brinkley Court a hell for man and beast? Dash all gestures, is my view."
"Oh, yes, sir."
"Well, what's to be done?"
"You feel that Miss Bassett, despite what has occurred, still retains a fondness for Mr. Finknottle, sir?"
"She is pining for him."
"In that case, sir, surely the best plan would be to bring about a reconciliation between them."
"How?" "You see, you stand silent and twiddle the fingers. You are stumped."
No, sir. If I twiddled my fingers, it was merely to assist thought."
Then continue twiddling."
"It will not be necessary, sir."
"You don't mean you've got a bite already?"
"Oh, yes, sir."
"You astound me, Jeeves. Let's have it."
"The device which I have in mind is one that I have already mentioned to you, sir."
"When did you ever mention any device to me?"
"If you will throw your mind back to the evening of our arrival, sir, you were good enough to inquire of me if I had any plan to put forward with a view to bringing Miss Angela and Mr. Glossop together, and I ventured to suggest—"
"Good Lord! Not the old fire alarm thing?"
"Precisely, sir."
"You're still sticking to that?"
"Yes, sir."
It shows how much the ghastly blow I had received had shaken me when I say that, instead of dismissing the proposal with a curt "Tcha!" or anything like that, I found myself speculating as whether there might not be something in it after all. When he had first mooted this fire-alarm scheme of his, I had sat upon it, if you remember, with the maximum of promptitude and vigor. Rotten was the adjective I had employed to describe it, and you may recall that I mused a bit sadly, considering the idea conclusive proof of the general breakdown of a once fine mind. But now it somehow began to look as if it might have possibilities. The fact of the matter was that I had about reached the stage where I was prepared to try anything once, however goofy. "Just run through that wheeze again, Jeeves," I said thoughtfully. "I remember thinking it cuckoo, but it may be that I missed some of the finer shades." "Your criticism of it at the time, sir, was that it was too elaborate. But I do not think it is so in reality. As I see it, sir, the occupants of the house, hearing the fire bell ring, will suppose that a conflagration has broken out." I nodded. One could follow the train of thought. "Yes, that seems reasonable." "Whereupon Mr. Glossop will hasten to save Miss Angela, while Mr. Thinknottle performs the same office for Miss Bassett." Is that based on psychology?
"Yes, sir. Possibly you may recollect that it was an axiom of the late Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's fictional detective Sherlock Holmes that the instinct of everyone upon an alarm of fire is to save the object dearest to them."
Well, it seems to me there is a grave danger of seeing Tuppy come out carrying a steak and kidney pie. But resume, Jeeves, resume. You think that this would clean everything up?
"The relations of the two young couples could scarcely continue distant after such an occurrence, sir."
Perhaps you're right. But dash it, if we go ringing fire bells in the night watches, shan't we scare half the domestic staff into fits? There is one of the housemaids, Jane, I believe, who already skips like the high hills if I so much as come on her unexpectedly round a corner.
"A neurotic girl, sir, I agree. I have noticed her, but by acting promptly we should avoid such a contingency. The entire staff, with the exception of Monsieur Anatole, will be at the ball at Kingham Manor tonight."
Of course. That just shows the condition this thing has reduced me to. Forget my own name next. Well, then, let's just try to envisage. Bong goes the bell, Gussie rushes and grabs the basset. Wait, why shouldn't she simply walk downstairs?
"You are overlooking the effect of a sudden alarm on the feminine temperament, sir."
That's true.
"Miss Bassett's impulse, I would imagine, sir, would be to leap from her window."
Well, that's worse. We don't want her spread out in a sort of puree on the lawn. It seems to me that the flaw in this scheme of yours, Jeeves, is that it's going to litter the garden with mangled corpses.
"No, sir. You will recall that Mr. Travers' fear of burglars has caused him to have stout bars fixed to all the windows."
Of course, yes. Well, it sounds all right, I said, though still a bit doubtfully. Quite possibly it may come off, but I have a feeling that it will slip up somewhere. However, I am in no position to cavil at even a 100-to-1 shot. I will adopt this policy of yours, Jeeves, though, as I say, with misgivings. At what hour would you suggest bonging the bell?
"Not before midnight, sir."
That is to say, sometime after midnight?
"Yes, sir."
Righto, then. At 12:30 on the dot, I will bong.
"Very good, sir."
This is so silly. All right, let me catch up with chat. Looks like I missed a lot of it. Good Lord. Up we come. All right. You got to tuck in the mister. Boy, he's doing okay. Is he doing okay, lady? Hope he's doing okay. He was playing Division 2 this morning. Oh yeah, yeah. There's the yeah. I don't know if it's related or not, but I know YouTube has by default started downgrading video services. So all the streaming or even any kind of video watching now defaults to standard definition, 480p, and you can still manually select a higher thing, but just to take off a bit of the a bit of the load from the video, from the video intensive streaming going on the internets. Hexagraph is quite pleased, is quite impressed, rather, with Jeeves's plan. I take it. I like it. It's better than Bertram's plans. Good lord. On the ning nang nong where the cows go bong and the monkeys all say boo. There we go. Oh, Netflix is doing that as well? Okay. You're loving the dialogue? Yeah, it is pretty funny. It's very funny. But it's definitely very British, and I could definitely see like a lot of like, I guess, like non-British viewers being like, "What? What's wrong with you?" It's pretty fun. You know what I'm dreading right now? I'm dreading. I'm sure the penultimate chapter, probably this one here. This one here is going to have a scene where everybody is all together all at once, doing their excited chatting. That's going to be interesting. Hopefully by this time I've got everyone's stuff nailed. Oh, you watch a lot of BBC? Ah, nice. Yeah, I grew up with all those British shows. Yeah, there you go.
Are you free, Mrs. Morales?
Still one of my favorite shows. It's like everyone's just got one punchline that they just say over and over and over again, but it's just still like the funniest show. Oh, Richard Burton? Oh, yeah. That dude's voice is amazing. Oh, Richard Burton. Wow. Alrighty. Very good. Okay. Are you... Maybe an Are You Free sticker. Oh, the Blackadder? Yeah. Rowan Atkinson was, he's, well, he still is quite amazing. But yeah, I didn't like his Mr. Bean character. Didn't like that at all. But yeah, he's done so much amazing stuff over the years, and the Blackadder series was really good. So it was very, very good. Yeah, and I still think that the very first Blackadder series is still just like genius. Tried to find an accessible site to see the TV show. Which one? Which show is that? Are You Being Served? Yeah, it's actually even Rowan Atkinson kind of like he got to the I saw an interview with him there, and he kind of I don't want to say he kind of regretted the show, but he was in some ways I guess he kind of did, but he kind of had like the same kind of thought that I had about it. Yeah. Are You Being Served? Oh, you have the whole thing on DVD? Wow, you're lucky. Uh-huh.
Are you free, Mr. Z?
Alrighty. Okay. We got to get back on with our story. Where are we at? Oh wow, we got a few viewers. In here. How you all doing? Maybe a fair amount of lurkers, but that's okay too. I'll take them all. I will take them all. Okay. We'll continue on in just a second here. Tillable Cat, you love Mr. Bean? Spinning his salad in a sock in a park bench and that goofy, yeah. Yeah, I know, it was a very popular show. It did very, very well. It did do very, very well. But yeah, no, there was just some underlying stuff in it which it just made me sad. 200 episodes of Are You Being Served? Yeah, the spin-off that they later made there, where they Are You Still Being Served? That was terrible. I don't know how many episodes they made of that. I only saw like maybe one or two. I'd say about two. Yeah, 2 episodes of that. The one where they all move out to the farmhouse. Yeah, but you know, I mean, that's how TV shows work. You gotta grind them into the ground most times. Yeah. All right, okay. Let's continue with our story. Chapter 22. We're almost done. There's 23 chapters. So yeah, my prediction is there's going to be a big confrontation with every single person that we've met so far, all in one big room, and the final chapter will be Jeeves and Wooster by themselves, coming to terms with the situation. All right. That's my theory. You're talking about the Jeeves and Wooster show from the night. Yeah. Someone mentioned that last week. I didn't even know they made one, and until we started reading this, someone mentioned that. So yeah, I want to check that out. Ooh, big scary monster. It's coming for ya. Chapter 22. I don't know why it is, but there's something about the rural districts after dark that's always had a rummy effect on me. In London, I can stay out till all hours and come home with the milk without a tremor, but put me in the garden of a country house after the strength of the company has gone to roost, and the place is shut up, and a sort of goose-fleshy feeling steals over me. The night wind stirs the treetops, twigs crack, bushes rustle, and before I know where I am, the morale has gone fut, and I'm expecting the family ghost to come sneaking up behind me, making groaning noises. Dashed unpleasant, the whole thing, and if you think it improves matters to know that you are shortly about to ring the loudest fire bell in England and start an all-hands-to-the-pumps panic in that quiet, darkened house, you err. I knew all about the Brinkley Court fire bell, the dickens of a row it makes. Uncle Tom, in addition to not liking burglars, is a bloke who has always objected to the idea of being cooked in his sleep, so when he bought the place he saw to it that the fire bell should be something that might give you heart failure. Kind of like my channel sub notices. When he bought the place, he saw to it that the fire bell should be something that might give you heart failure, but which you couldn't possibly mistake for the drowsy chirping of a sparrow in the ivy. When I was a kid and spent my holidays at Brinkley, we used to have fire drills after closing time, and many is the night I've had it jerk me out of the dreamless like the last trump. I confess that the recollection of what this bell could do when it buckled down to it gave me pause as I stood that night at 12:30 p.m., prompt beside the outhouse where it was located. It should be a.m. That should definitely be a.m. Unless they don't do that weird over in Britain, do they? That should be 12:30 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. It gave me pause as I stood that night at 12:30 p.m., prompt beside the outhouse where it was located. The sight of the rope against the whitewashed wall and the thought of the bloodsome uproar which was about to smash the peace of the night into hash served to deepen that rummy feeling to which I have alluded. Moreover, now that I had had time to meditate upon it, I was more than ever defeatist about this scheme of Jeeves. Jeeves seemed to take it for granted that Gussie and Tuppy, faced with a hideous fate, would have no thought beyond saving the Bassett and Angela. I could not bring myself to share his sunny confidence. I mean to say, I know how moments, when they're faced with a hideous fate affects chaps. I remember Freddie Widgeon, one of the most chivalrous birds in the drones, telling me how there was an alarm of fire once at a seaside hotel where he was staying, and so far from rushing about saving women, he was down the escape within 10 seconds of the kickoff, his mind concerned with but one thing, viz. The personal well-being of F. Widgeon. As far as any idea of doing the delicately nurtured a bit of good went, he tells me he was prepared to stand underneath and catch them in blankets, but no more. Why, then, should this be so? Why, then, should not... Why, then, should this not be so with Augustus Fink Nottle and Hildebrand Glossop? Such were my thoughts as I stood toying with the rope, and I believe I should have turned the whole thing up had it not been that at this juncture there floated into my mind a picture of the Basset hearing that bell for the first time. Coming as a wholly new experience, it would probably startle her into a decline. And so agreeable was this reflection that I waited no longer, but seized the rope, braced the feet, and snapped into it. Well, as I say, I hadn't been expecting that bell to hush things up to any great extent. Nor did it. Good morning, Rose Wolf. Well, as I say, I hadn't been expecting that bell to hush things up to any great extent, nor did it. The last time I had heard it, I had been in my room on the other side of the house, and even so it had hoiked me out of bed, as if something had exploded under me. Standing close to it like this, I got the full force and meaning of the thing, and I've never heard anything like it in my puff. I rather enjoy a bit of noise, as a general rule. I remember Catsmeat Potter Pirbright bringing a police rattle into the drones one night and loosing it off behind my chair, and I just lay back and closed my eyes with a pleasant smile like someone in a box at the opera. And the same applies to the time when my Aunt Agatha's son, young Thomas, put a match to the parcel of Guy Fawkes Day fireworks to see what would happen. But the Brinkley Court fire bell was too much for me. I gave about a half a dozen tugs, and then, feeling that enough was enough, sauntered round to the front lawn to ascertain what solid results had been achieved. Brinkley Court had given of its best. A glance told me that we were playing to capacity. The eye, roving to and fro, noted here Uncle Tom in a purple dressing-gown, there Aunt Dahlia in the old blue and yellow. It also fell upon Anatole, Tuppy, Gussie, Angela, the Basset, and Jeeves, in the order named. There they all were, present and correct. But, and this was what caused me immediate concern, I could detect no sign whatever that there had been any rescue work going on. What I had been hoping, of course, was to see Tuppy bending solicitously over Angela in one corner, while Gussie fanned the Basset with a towel in the other. Instead of which, the Basset was one of the group, which included Aunt Dahlia and Uncle Tom, and seemed to be busy trying to make Anatole see the bright side, while Angela and Gussie were, respectively, leaning against the sundial with a peeved look and sitting on the grass rubbing a barked shin. Tuppy was walking up and down the path, all by himself. A disturbing picture, you will admit. It was with a rather imperious gesture that I summoned Jeeves to my side. "Well, Jeeves?"
"Sir."
I eyed him sternly. "Sir?" Forsooth. "It's no good saying sir, Jeeves. Look round you. See for yourself. Your scheme has proved a bust."
Certainly it would appear that matters have not arranged themselves quite as we anticipated, sir."
"We?"
"As I had anticipated, sir."
"That's more like it. Didn't I tell you it would be a flop?"
"I remember that you did seem dubious, sir."
Dubious is no word for it, Jeeves. I hadn't a scrap of faith in the idea from the start. When you first mooted it, I said it was rotten, and I was right. I'm not blaming you, Jeeves. It's not your fault that you have sprained your brain. But after this, forgive me if I hurt your feelings, Jeeves, I shall know better than to allow you to handle any but the simplest and most elementary problems. It is best to be candid about this, don't you think? Kindest to be frank and straightforward.
Certainly, sir.
I mean, the surgeon's knife, what not?
Precisely, sir.
I consider...
If you will pardon me for interrupting you, sir, I fancy Mrs. Travers is endeavoring to attract your attention.
And at this moment a ringing "Oi!" which could have proceeded only from the relative in question, assured me that his view was correct. That's a lot of stickers being thrown down. Good morning. Good morning, all. That's a lot of them. I like it. I like it.
Just step this way a moment, Attila, if you don't mind,
boomed that well-known and, under most conditions, well-loved voice, and I moved over. I was not feeling unmixedly at my ease. For the first time, it was beginning to steal upon me that I had not prepared a really good story in support of my questionable behavior in ringing fire bells at such an hour, and I have known Aunt Dahlia to express herself with a hearty freedom upon far smaller provocation. She exhibited, however, no signs of violence. More of a sort of frozen calm, if you know what I mean. You could see that she was a woman who had suffered.
"Well, Bertie dear,"
she said,
"here we all are."
"Quite," I replied guardedly.
"Nobody missing, is there?"
"I don't think so."
"Splendid. So much healthier for us out in the open like this than frowsting in bed. I had just dropped off when you did your bell-ringing act, for it was you, my sweet child, who rang that bell, was it not?"
"I did ring the bell, yes."
"Any particular reason, or just a whim?"
"I thought there was a fire."
"Oh, what gave you that impression, dear?"
"I thought I saw flames."
"Where, darling? Tell Aunt Dahlia."
"In one of those windows."
"I see. So we've all been dragged out of bed and scared rigid because you've been seeing things."
Here Uncle Tom made a noise like a cork coming out of a bottle, and Anatole, whose moustache had hit a new low, said something about ulcemaps, and if I'm not mistaken, a rogomir, whatever that is. I admit I was mistaken. I am sorry.
"Oh, don't apologize, Ducky. Can't you see how pleased we all are? What were you doing out here, anyway?"
"Just taking a stroll."
"I see. And are you proposing to continue your stroll?"
"No, I think I'll go in now."
"That's fine, because I was thinking of going in too, and I don't believe I could sleep knowing you were out here giving rein to that powerful imagination of yours. The next thing that would happen would be that you would think you saw a pink elephant sitting on the drawing-room windowsill and start throwing bricks at it. Well, come on, Tom, the entertainment seems to be over. But wait, the Newt King wishes a word with us. Yes, Mr. Finknottle?"
Gussie, as he joined our little group, seemed upset about something.
"I say." "Say on, Augustus. I say, what are we going to do?" Speaking for myself, I intend to return to bed. But the door's shut. What door? The front door. Somebody must have shut it. Then I shall open it. But it won't open. Then I shall try another door. But all the other doors are shut. What? Who shut them? I don't know.
I advanced a theory. The wind? Aunt Dahlia's eyes met mine.
Don't try me too high, she begged. Not now, precious.
And indeed, even as I spoke, it did strike me that the night was pretty still. Uncle Tom said we must get in through a window. Aunt Dahlia sighed a bit.
How? Could Lloyd George do it? Could Winston do it? Could Baldwin do it? No, since you had those bars of yours put on.
Well, who's this? Uncle... well, God bless my soul, ring the bell, then. No, that's the other dude. What's this guy? Well, God bless my soul, then. Ring the bell, then.
The fire bell.
The doorbell.
To what end, Thomas? There's nobody in the house. The servants are all at Kingham.
But confound it all, we can't stop out here all night.
Can't we? You just watch us. It's nothing, literally nothing, which a country house party can't do with a tiller here operating on the premises. Seppings presumably took the back door key with him. We must just amuse ourselves till he comes back.
Tuppy made a suggestion. Tuppy is, 1 second. Pop. Yeah, here we go. Tuppy made a suggestion. Why not take out one of the cars, drive over to Kingham, and get the key from Seppings? It went well. No question about that. For the first time, a smile lit up Aunt Dahlia's drawn face. Uncle Tom grunted approvingly. Anatole said something in Provençal that sounded complimentary, and I thought I detected, even on Angela's face, a slight softening.
A very excellent idea, said Aunt Dahlia. One of the best. Nip round to the garage at once.
After Tuppy was gone, some extremely flattering things were said about his intelligence and resource, and there was a disposition to draw rather invidious comparisons between him and Bertram. Painful for me, of course, but the ordeal didn't last long, for it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes before he was with us again. Tuppy seemed perturbed. I say, it's all off.
Why?
The garage is locked.
Unlock it.
I haven't the key.
Well, shout then and wake Waterbury.
Who's Waterbury?
The chauffeur, ass. He sleeps over the garage.
But he's gone to the dance at Kingham. It was the final wallop. Until this moment, Aunt Dahlia had been able to preserve her frozen calm. The dam now burst. The years rolled away from her, and she was once more the Dahlia Wooster of the old Yoicks and Tantivy days, the emotional, free-speaking girl who had so often risen in her stirrups to yell derogatory personalities at people who were heading hounds. Curse all dancing chauffeurs! What on earth does a chauffeur want to dance for? I mistrusted that man from the start. Something told me he was a dancer. Well, this finishes it. We're out here till breakfast time. If those blasted servants come back before 8 o'clock, I shall be vastly surprised. You won't get Seppings away from a dance till you throw him out. I know him. The jazz will go to his head, and he'll stand clapping and demanding encores till his hands blister. Damn all dancing butlers! What is Brinkley Court? A respectable English country house or a crimson dancing school? One might as well be living in the middle of the Russian ballet. Well,
All right, if we must stay out here, we must. We shall all be frozen stiff, except—"
Here she directed at me not one of her friendliest glances.
"Except dear old Attila, who is, I observe, well and warmly clad. We will resign ourselves to the prospect of freezing to death like the babes in the wood, merely expressing a dying wish that our old pal Attila will see that we are covered with leaves. No doubt he will also toll that fire bell of his as a mark of respect. And what might you want, my good man?"
She broke off and stood glaring at Jeeves. During the latter portion of her address, he had been standing by in a respectful manner, endeavoring to catch the speaker's eye.
"If I might make a suggestion, madam."
I am not saying that in the course of our long association I have always found myself able to view Jeeves with approval. There are aspects of his character which have frequently caused coldnesses to arise between us. He is one of those fellows who, if you give him a thingamy, take a what-do-you-call-it. His work is often raw, and he has been known to allude to me as mentally negligible. More than once, as I have shown, it has been my painful task to squelch in him a tendency to get uppish and treat the young master as a serf or peon. These are grave defects. But one thing I have never failed to hand the man. He is magnetic. There is something about him that seems to soothe and hypnotize. To the best of my knowledge, he has never encountered a charging rhinoceros. But should this contingency occur, I have no doubt that the animal, meeting his eye, would check itself in mid-stride, roll over, and lie purring with its legs in the air. At any rate, he calmed down Aunt Dahlia, the nearest thing to a charging rhinoceros, in under 5 seconds. He just stood there, looking respectful, and though I didn't time the thing, not having a stopwatch on me, I should say it wasn't more than 3 seconds and a quarter before her whole manner underwent an astounding change for the better. She melted before one's eyes.
"Jeeves, you haven't got an idea."
Yes, madam."
"That great brain of yours has really clicked as ever in the hour of need."
"Yes, madam."
"Jeeves," said Aunt Dahlia in a shaking voice, "I am sorry I spoke so abruptly. I was not myself. I might have known that you would not come simply trying to make conversation. Tell us this idea of yours, Jeeves. Join our little group of thinkers and let us hear what you have to say. Make yourself at home, Jeeves, and give us the good word. Can you really get us out of this mess?"
"Yes, madam, if one of the gentlemen would be willing to ride a bicycle."
"A bicycle?"
"There is a bicycle in the gardener's shed in the kitchen garden, madam. Possibly one of the gentlemen might feel disposed to ride over to Kingham Manor and procure the back-door key from Mr. Seppings."
"Splendid, Jeeves."
"Thank you, madam."
"Wonderful."
"Thank you, madam."
"Attila,"
said Aunt Dahlia, turning and speaking in a quiet, authoritative manner. I had been expecting it. From the very moment those ill-judged words had passed the fellow's lips, I had had a presentiment that a determined effort would be made to elect me as the goat, and I braced myself to resist and obstruct. And as I was about to do so, while I was in the very act of summoning up all my eloquence to protest that I didn't know how to ride a bike, and couldn't possibly learn in the brief time at my disposal, I'm dashed if the man didn't go and nip me in the bud.
"Yes, madam, Mr. Wooster would perform the task admirably. He is an expert cyclist. He has often boasted to me of his triumphs on the wheel."
I hadn't done anything of the sort. It's simply monstrous how one's words get twisted. All I had ever done was to mention to him, casually, just as an interesting item of information, one day in New York when we were watching the 6-day bicycle race, that at the age of 14, while spending my holidays with a vicar of sorts who had been told off to teach me Latin, I had won the choir boys' handicap at the local school treat. A different thing from boasting of one's triumphs on the wheel. I mean, he was a man of the world, and must have known that the form of school treats is never of the hottest, and if I'm not mistaken, I had specifically told him on the occasion referred to, I had received half a lap start, and that Willie Punting, the odds-on favourite to whom the race was expected to be a gift, had been forced to retire, owing to having pinched his elder brother's machine without asking the elder brother, and the elder brother coming along just as the pistol went and giving him one on the side of the head and taking it away from him, thus rendering him a scratched-at-the-post non-starter. Yet, from the way he talked, you would have thought I was one of those chaps in sweaters with medals all over them, whose photographs bob up from time to time in the illustrated press on the occasion of their having ridden from Hyde Park Corner to Glasgow in 3 seconds under the hour, or whatever it is. And as if this were not bad enough, Tuppy had to shove his oar in. "Well, that's right," said Tuppy. "Bertie's always been a great cyclist. I remember at Oxford he used to take all his clothes off on a bump supper nights and ride around the quad, singing comic songs. Jolly fast he used to go, too." "Then he can jolly well go fast now," said Aunt Dahlia with animation. "He can't go too fast for me. He may also sing comic songs if he likes, and if you wish to take your clothes off, Bertie, my lamb, by all means do so, but whether clothed or in the nude, whether singing comic songs or not singing comic songs, get a move on." I found speech. But I haven't ridden for years." "Then it's high time you began again." "I've probably forgotten how to ride." "You'll soon get the knack after you've taken a toss or two. Trial and error, the only way." "But it's miles to Kingham." "So the sooner you're off, the better." "But—" "Bertie, dear." "But dash it." "Bertie, darling." "Yes, but dash it." "Bertie, my sweet." And so it was arranged. Presently I was moving somberly off through the darkness, Jeeves at my side, Aunt Dahlia calling after me something about trying to imagine myself the man who brought the good news from Ghent to Aix. First I've heard of the chap. "So, Jeeves," I said, as we reached the shed, and my voice was cold and bitter, "this is what your great scheme has accomplished. Tuppy, Angela, Gussie, and the Basset not on speaking terms, and self-faced with an 8-mile ride—" "9, I believe, sir." "A 9-mile ride, and another 9-mile ride back." "I am sorry, sir." "Not good being sorry now. Where is this foul bone-shaker?" "I will bring it out, sir." He did so. I eyed it sourly. "Where's the lamp?" "I fear there is no lamp, sir." "No lamp?" "No, sir." "But I may come a fearful stinker without a lamp. Suppose I barge into something." I broke off and eyed him frigidly. "You smile, Jeeves. The thought amuses you." "I beg your pardon, sir. I was thinking of a tale my Uncle Cyril used to tell me as a child. An absurd little story, sir, though I confess that I have always found it droll.
According to my Uncle Cyril, 2 men named Nichols and Jackson set out to ride to Brighton on a tandem bicycle, and were so unfortunate as to come into collision with a brewer's van. And when the rescue party arrived on the scene of the accident, it was discovered that they had been hurled together with such force that it was impossible to sort them out at all adequately. The keenest eye could not discern which portion of the fragments were Nichols and which Jackson. So they collected as much as they could and called it Nixon. I remember laughing very much at that story when I was a child, sir."
I had to pause a moment to master my feelings. "You did, eh?"
"Yes, sir."
"You thought it funny?"
"Yes, sir."
"And your Uncle Cyril thought it funny?"
"Yes, sir."
"Golly, what a family. Next time you meet your Uncle Cyril, Jeeves, you can tell him from me that his sense of humor is morbid and unpleasant."
"He is dead, sir."
"Well, thank heaven for that. Well, give me the blasted machine."
"Very good, sir."
"Are the tires inflated?"
"Yes, sir."
"The nuts firm, the brakes in order, the sprockets running true with the differential gear?"
"Yes, sir."
"Righto, Jeeves." In Tuppy's statement that, when at the University of Oxford, I had been known to ride a bicycle in the nude about the quadrangle of our mutual college, there had been, I cannot deny, a certain amount of substance. Correct, however, though his facts were, so far as they went, he had not told all. What he had omitted to mention was that I had invariably been well oiled at the time, and when in that condition a chap is capable of feats at which in cooler moments his reason would rebel. Stimulated by the juice, I believe, men have even been known to ride alligators. As I started now to pedal out into the great world, I was icily sober, and the old skill, in consequence, had deserted me entirely. I found myself wobbling badly, and all the stories I had ever heard of nasty bicycle accidents came back to me with a rush, headed by Jeeves' Uncle Cyril's cheery little anecdote about Nichols and Jackson. Pounding wearily through the darkness, I found myself at a loss to fathom the mentality of men like Jeeves' Uncle Cyril. What on earth he could see funny in a disaster which had apparently involved the complete extinction of a human creature, or at any rate of half a human creature and half another human creature, was more than I could understand. To me, the thing was one of the most poignant tragedies that had ever been brought to my attention, and I have no doubt that I should have continued to brood over it for quite a time, had my thoughts not been diverted by the sudden necessity of zigzagging sharply in order to avoid a pig in the fairway. For a moment it looked like being real Nichols and Jackson stuff. But fortunately, a quick zig on my part, coinciding with an adroit zag on the part of the pig, enabled me to win through, and I continued my ride safe, but with the heart fluttering like a captive bird. The effect of this narrow squeak upon me was to shake the nerve to the utmost. The fact that pigs were abroad in the night seemed to bring home to me the perilous nature of my enterprise. It set me thinking of all the other things that could happen to a man out and about on a velocipede without a lamp after lighting up time. In particular, I recalled the statement of a pal of mine that in certain sections of the rural districts goats were accustomed to stray across the road to the extent of their chains, thereby forming about as sound a booby-trap as one could well wish. He mentioned, I remember, the case of a friend of his, whose machine got entangled with a goat chain, and who was dragged 7 miles, like scajoring in Switzerland, so that he was never the same man again. And there was one chap who ran into an elephant left over from a travelling circus. Indeed, taking it
all in all, it seemed to me that, with the possible exception of being bitten by sharks, there was virtually no front-page disaster that could not happen to a fellow, once he had allowed his dear ones to override his better judgment and shove him out into the great unknown on a push-bike. And I am not ashamed to confess that, taking it by and large, the amount of quailing I did from this point on was pretty considerable. However, in respect to goats and elephants, I must say things panned out unexpectedly well. Oddly enough, I encountered neither. But when you have said that you have said everything, for in every other way the conditions could scarcely have been fouler. Apart from the ceaseless anxiety of having to keep an eye skinned for elephants, I found myself much depressed by barking dogs, and once I received a most unpleasant shock when, alighting to consult a signpost, I saw sitting on top of it an owl that looked exactly like my Aunt Agatha. So agitated, indeed, had my frame of mind become by this time, that I thought at first it was Aunt Agatha, and only when reason and reflection told me how alien to her habits it would be to climb signposts and sit on them, could I pull myself together and overcome the weakness. In short, what with all this mental disturbance, added to the more purely physical anguish in the billowy portions and the calves and ankles, the Bertram Wooster who eventually toppled off at the door of Kingham Manor was a very different Bertram from the gay and insouciant boulevardier of Bond Street and Piccadilly. Even to one unaware of the inside facts, it would have been evident that Kingham Manor was throwing its weight about a bit tonight. Lights shone in the windows, music was in the air, and as I drew nearer, my ear detected the sibilant shuffling of the feet of butlers, footmen, chauffeurs, parlour-maids, housemaids, tweenies, and I have no doubt cooks, who were busily treading the measure. I suppose you couldn't sum it up much better than by saying that there was a sound of revelry by night. The orgy was taking place in one of the ground-floor rooms, which had French windows opening onto the drive, and it was to these French windows that I now made my way. An orchestra was playing something with a good deal of zip to it, and under happier conditions I dare say my feet would have started twitching in time to the melody. But I had sterner work before me than to stand hoofing it by myself on gravel drives. I wanted that back door key, and I wanted it instanter. Scanning the throng within, I found it difficult for a while to spot Seppings. Presently, however, he hove in view, doing fearfully lissom things in mid-floor. I high Seppings a couple of times, but his mind was too much on his job to be diverted, and it was only when the swirl of the dance had brought him within prodding distance of my forefinger that a quick one to the lower ribs enabled me to claim his attention. The unexpected buffet caused him to trip over his partner's feet, and it was with marked austerity that he turned. As he recognized Bertram, however, coldness melted, to be replaced by astonishment. "Good morning, Chris." "Mr. Alberti." "Mr. Wooster."
I was in no mood for bandying words. "Less of the Mr. Wooster and more back-door keys," I said curtly. "Give me the key of the back door, Seppings." He did not seem to grasp the gist.
"The key of the back door, sir."
"Precisely, the Brinkley Court back door key."
"But it is at the court, sir."
I clicked the tongue, annoyed. "Don't be frivolous, my dear old butler," I said. "I haven't ridden 9 miles on a push-bike to listen to you trying to be funny. You've got it in your trousers pocket."
"No, sir. I left it with Mr. Jeeves."
"You did what?"
"Yes, sir. Before I came away, Mr. Jeeves said that he wished to walk in the garden before retiring for the night. He was to place the key on the kitchen window-sill. I stared at the man dumbly. His eye was clear, his hand steady. He had none of the appearance of a butler who has had a couple. You mean that all this while the key has been in Jeeves' possession? Yes, sir. I could speak no more. Emotion had overmastered my voice. I was at a loss, and not abreast, but of one thing it seemed to me there could be no doubt. For some reason, not to be fathomed now, but most certainly to be gone well into as soon as I had pushed this infernal sewing machine of mine over those 9 miles of lonely country road, and got within striking distance of him, Jeeves had been doing the dirty. Knowing that at any given moment he could have solved the whole situation, he had kept Aunt Dahlia and others roosting out on the front lawn on Deshabie, and worse still, had stood calmly by and watched his young employer set out on a wholly unnecessary 18-mile bicycle ride. I could scarcely believe such a thing of him. Of his Uncle Cyril, yes. With that distorted sense of humor of his, Uncle Cyril might conceivably have been capable of such conduct, but that it should be Jeeves. I leaped into the saddle, and stifling the cry of agony which rose to the lips as the bruised person touched the hard leather, set out on the homeward journey. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm gonna take a quick little stretch there, down to our final chapter. Man, oh man, oh man. Good reading so far. Did I miss anything in chat? We're going to take a look. Chris Alberti came in. Hello, Chris. Good to see you, of course. A ton of sparks going down. Wow. Yeah.
Rose Morales sent 100 embers with the message, Halo Scrub.
Well, thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose. We are indeed the Halo Scrubs here. Oh, speaking of which, tonight, by the way, Wednesdays, we're going to be doing some Halo Wars 2 tonight. Halo Wars 2 and some Master Chief Collection, Halo Master Chief Collection. And I do need someone to help me get through the legendary co-op, very final level of the first Halo there. That's going to be fun. And then some more Bleeding Edge. There we go. Thank you for reminding me, Rose. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to be scrubbing it up with the best of the Halos tonight. Yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah, we'll get through another level and then get some Blitz going too. Hopefully we can find more people to hop on in on that. Yeah. I got to start adding more of this to my Xbox Club as well. I keep talking about that, and then it's like I keep forgetting. There's just so much stuff going on right now. You all know how it is. That's the grumpy coffee one. Okay. Where are we at? Just taking another 60 seconds before we jump on back in. Yeah, it is kind of rough. Kind of rough what we're doing here. Let's see. Just hitting let's see, anything exciting happening on Twitter? I don't know, we're about to find out. Good lord. What is, I don't know. Who knows what's going on? I don't know. Okay, let's get back to our thing. Oh, let me take a quick little, I need to talk to, that's a network error. Why? I don't know why there's a network error there. Look, it looks like there's no one over on Twitch and there's no one over on YouTube. That's fine. That is fine. Just wanted to mention again, yes, for the next couple of weeks, I am restreaming our Mixer stream here, which is the main stream, over to YouTube and Twitch. Just casting the net a little wider, because I know there's a lot of people stuck at home right now who could use a couple of hours of distracting entertainment for like a little bit. Help handle that cabin fever, as we all try
Try to stay as good as we can. 14 million sparks. Yeah, I know. I've been amazed at the amount of sparks coming down. It's fantastic. You're all quite incredible. Chris Alberti read Cyrano de Bergerac in high school. Yeah, it's okay. I really liked the Steve Martin adaptation of it. I thought that was kind of good. That was Roxanne. That was the name of that. It had Steve Martin and Judge Reinhold, and I forgot the name of the woman in that. But that was pretty funny. Steve Martin, he had a huge string of stuff happening back in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, it was like a modern day adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac. He had one heck of a honker on him, that's for sure. Wow. Okay. Alrighty, are we ready for the final chapter? I'm ready. Taking a quick little peek here and see what's going on. Alrighty. Wow, this is interesting. 1 second, let me just mute that real fast. Wow, he's got like a lot of inking up a lot of stuff. That's crazy. All right, okay. Let us get on with it. Let's do it. Today's Wednesday. Mr. Galen's here. Oh yeah, so here's the plan. We were going to finish up our stream, then we're going to pass it over to Mr. Galen. I think that'll be the plan. I think that'll be the way to do it. I think he should be going for a while. Alrighty. Okay. Seriously, really about to jump back into it. No, I just wanted to mention as well, I've been in my studio the past couple of days recording the actual studio stuff of the Edgar Allan Poe experiment. I still have a couple more to record. Last night I did the one for Scorpion Knights and for Shadowtronics. I still have, who do I have? I need to do Dahlia Roses, but I had some questions about her because I just wanted to make sure. There's a couple of chapters, a couple of pieces in her where it flips between the husband and the wife doing the narration. Just want to make sure I have them all right. Who else do I need to do? I still need to do Chris Alberti's. I'm probably going to do that on the next day that I'm not having book club. Because we've been doing so much reading. Yeah, my voice is taking a bit of a beating right now. So yeah, on a day that we don't have book club will probably be the next time that I'm hopping back in the studio. But I can be editing stuff in the meanwhile as well. Alrighty, but here we go, the final chapter, the very final chapter. Let's go, let's do it. Let us do it. Let us do it. Oh, let's move that over. There we go. Chapter 23. I remember Jeeves saying on one occasion, I forget how the subject had arisen, he may simply have thrown the observation out, as he does sometimes, for me to take or leave, that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and until tonight I had always felt that there was a lot in it. I had never scorned a woman myself, but Pongo Twistleton had once scorned an aunt of his, flatly refusing to meet her son Gerald at Paddington, and give him lunch and see him off to school at Waterloo. And he never heard the end of it. Letters were written, he tells me, which had to be seen to be believed. Also 2 very strong telegrams, and a bitter picture postcard with a view of the little Chilbury War Memorial on it. Until tonight, therefore, as I say, I had never questioned the accuracy of the statement. Scorned women first, and the rest nowhere, was how it had always seemed to me. But tonight I revised my views. If you want to know what hell can really do in the way of furies, look for the chap who has been hornswoggled into taking a long and unnecessary bicycle ride in the dark without a lamp. Mark that word, unnecessary. That was the part of it that really jabbed the iron into the soul. I mean, if it was a case of riding to the doctor's to save the child with croup, or going off to the local pub to fetch supplies in the event of the cellar having run dry, no one would leap to the handlebars more readily than I. Young Lochinvar, absolutely. But this business of being put through it merely to gratify one's personal attendant's diseased sense of the amusing was a bit too thick, and I chafed from start to finish. So what I mean to say, although the providence which watches over good men saw to it that I was enabled to complete the homeward journey unscathed, except in the billowy portions, removing from my path all goats, elephants, and even owls that looked like my Aunt Agatha, it was a frowning and jaundiced Bertram who finally came to anchor at the Brinkley Court front door. And when I saw a dark figure emerging from the porch to meet me, I prepared to let myself go and uncork all that was fizzing in the mind. "Jeeves," I said. Who's this saying him? Oh, it's the Basset. Okay. The Basset. "It is I, Bertie." The voice which spoke sounded like warm treacle, and even if I had not recognized it immediately as that of the Basset, I should have known that it did not proceed from the man I was yearning to confront. For this figure before me was wearing a simple tweed dress, and had employed my first name in its remarks. And Jeeves, whatever his moral defects, would never go about in skirts calling me Bertie. The last person, of course, whom I would have wished to meet after a long evening in the saddle, but I vouchsafed a courteous "what-o." There was a pause, during which I massaged the calves. Mine, of course, I mean. "You got in, then?" I said, in allusion to the change of costume. "Oh, yes. About a quarter of an hour after you left, Jeeves went searching about, and found the back door key on the kitchen window-sill." "Ha!" "What?" "Nothing." I thought you said something." "No, nothing." And I continued to do so, for at this juncture, as had so often happened when this girl and I were closeted, the conversation once more went blue on us. The night breeze whispered, but not the Basset. A bird twittered, but not so much as a chirp escaped Bertram. It was perfectly amazing the way her mere presence seemed to wipe speech from my lips, and mine, for that matter, from hers. It began to look as if our married life together would be rather like 20 years among the Trappist monks. "Seen Jeeves anywhere?" I asked, eventually coming through. "Yes, in the dining room." "The dining room?" "Waiting on everybody. They are having eggs and bacon and champagne. What did you say?" I had said nothing, merely snorted. "Chris Alberti, only I'm supposed to win, man. What are you doing?" I had said nothing, merely snorted. There was something about the thought of these people carelessly reveling at a time when, for all they knew, I was probably being dragged about the countryside by goats or chewed by elephants, that struck home at me like a poisoned dart. It was the sort of thing you read about as having happened just before the French Revolution, the haughty nobles in their castles callously digging in and quaffing, while the unfortunate blighters outside were suffering frightful privations. The voice of the Basset cut in on these mordant reflections. "Bertie." "Hello." Silence. "Hello," I said again. No response. Whole thing rather like one of those telephone conversations where you sit at your end of the wire saying, "Hello, hello," unaware that the party of the second part has gone off to tea. Eventually, however, she came to the surface again. "Bertie, I have something to say to you." "What?" I have something to say to you." "I know. I said what?" "Oh, I thought you didn't hear what I said." Yes, I heard what you said all right, but not what you were going to say." "Oh, I see." Righto." So that was straightened out. Nevertheless, instead of proceeding, she took time off once more. She stood, twisting the fingers and scratching the gravel with her foot. When finally she spoke, it was to deliver an impressive boost.
Bertie, do you read Tennyson?
Oh, not if I can help.
You remind me so much of those knights of the Round Table in the Idylls of the King.
Okay, by the way, for the record, the Idylls of the King is a really, really, really excellent series of poems by Lord Tennyson. However, the stream didn't like it. Yeah, it's one of the very few things there that the stream here was just like, we want something else. Yeah, so I don't know, just that's kind of funny. All right. Yeah, so we stopped reading it after like the first 3 parts, I think, or something like that. But it's highly recommended. Idylls of the King. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Bertie, do you read Tennyson?
Not if I can help.
You remind me so much of those knights of the Round Table in the Idylls of the King.
Of course I had heard of them, Lancelot, Galahad, and all that lot, but I didn't see where the resemblance came in. It seemed to me that she must be thinking of a couple of other fellows.
How do you mean? You have such a great heart, such a fine soul. You are so generous, so unselfish, so chivalrous. I've always felt that about you, that you are one of the few really chivalrous men I've ever met.
Well, dashed difficult, of course, to know what to say when someone is giving you the old oil on a scale like that. I muttered an, oh yes, or something on those lines, and rubbed the billowy portions in some embarrassment. And then there was another silence, broken only by a sharp howl as I rubbed a bit too hard.
Bertie.
Hello? I heard her give a sort of gulp.
Bertie, will you be chivalrous now?
Rather. Only too pleased. How do you mean?
I'm going to try you to the utmost. I'm going to test you as few men have ever been tested.
I didn't like the sound of this. Well, I said doubtfully, always glad to oblige, you know, but I've just had the dickens of a bicycle ride, and I'm a bit stiff and sore, especially in the... As I say, a bit stiff and sore. If it's anything to be fetched from upstairs...
No, you don't understand.
I don't quite know.
Oh, it's so difficult. How can I say it? Can't you guess?
No, I'm dashed if I can.
Bertie, let me go.
But I haven't got hold of you.
Release me.
And then suddenly I got it. I suppose it was fatigue that had made me so slow to apprehend the nub.
What?
I staggered, and the left pedal came up and caught me on the shin. But such was the ecstasy in the soul that I didn't utter a cry. Release you?
Yes.
I didn't want any confusion on the point. You mean you want to call it all off? You're going to hitch up with Gussie, after all?
Only if you are fine and big enough to consent.
Oh, I am.
I gave you my promise.
Oh, dash promises.
Then you really...
Absolutely.
Oh, Bertie.
She seemed to sway like a sapling. It is saplings that sway, I believe.
A very parfait night,
I heard her murmur, and there not being much to say after that, I excused myself on the ground that I had got about 2 pecks of dust down my back and would like to go and get my maid to put me into something loose. You go back to Gussie, I said, and tell him that all is well. She gave a sort of hiccup, and, darting forward, kissed me on the forehead. Unpleasant, of course, but as Anatole would say, I can take a few smooths with a rough. The next moment she was legging it for the dining room, while I, having bunged the bicycle into a bush, made for the stairs. What, you wanted them to get married there, Rose? I need not dwell upon my buckedness. It can be readily imagined. Talk about chaps with the noose round their necks and the hangman about to let her go, and somebody galloping up on a foaming horse, waving the reprieve. Not in it. Absolutely not in it at all. I don't know that I can give you a better idea of the state of my feelings than by saying that as I started across the hall, I was conscious of so profound a benevolence toward all created things that I found myself thinking kindly thoughts even of Jeeves. I was about to mount the stairs when a sudden what-ho from my rear caused me to turn. Tuppy was standing in the hall. He had apparently been down to the cellar for reinforcements, for there were a couple of bottles under his arm. "Hello, Bertie," he said. "You're back." He laughed amusedly. You look like the wreck of Hesperus. Get run over by a steamroller or something." At any other time I might have found his coarse badinage hard to bear, but such was my uplifted mood that I waved it aside and slipped him the good news. "Tuppy, old man, the Bassett's going to marry Gussie Finknottle." Tough luck on both of them, what? "But don't you understand? Don't you see what this means? It means that Angela is once more out of pawn, and you only have to play your cards properly." He bellowed rockingly. I saw now that he was in the pink. As a matter of fact, I had noticed something of the sort directly I met him, but had attributed it to alcoholic stimulant. "Good Lord, you're behind the times, Bertie. Only to be expected, of course, if you will go riding bicycles half the night. Angela and I made it up hours ago." "What?" "Oh, certainly. Nothing but a passing tiff. All you need in these matters is a little give and take, a bit of reasonableness on both sides. We got together and talked things over. She withdrew my double chin. I conceded her shark. Perfectly simple, all done in a couple of minutes." "But—" "Sorry, Bertie, can't stop chatting with you all night. There's another impressive beano in progress in the dining room, and they're waiting for supplies." Endorsement was given to this statement by a sudden shout from the apartment named. I recognized, as who would not, Aunt Dahlia's voice. "Glossop." "Hullo." "Hurry up with that stuff." Coming. "Well then." "Yoicks. Hard forward." "Tally-ho, not to mention Tantivy." "Your aunt," said Tuppy, "is a bit above herself. I don't know all the facts of the case, but it appears that Anatole gave notice and has now consented to stay on, and also your uncle has given her a check for that paper of hers. I didn't get the details, but she's much braced. See you later. I must rush." To say that Bertram was now definitely nonplussed would be but to state the simple truth. I could make nothing of this. I had left Brinkley Court a stricken home, with hearts bleeding wherever you looked, and I had returned to find it a sort of earthly paradise. It baffled me. I bathed bewilderedly. The toy duck was still in the soap dish, but I was too preoccupied to give it a thought. Still at a loss, I returned to my room, and there was Jeeves. And it is proof of my fogged condish that my first words to him were— condish. Okay. And it is proof of my fogged condish that my first words to him were words not of reproach and stern recrimination, but of inquiry. "I say, Jeeves."
Good evening, sir. I was informed that you had returned. I trust you had an enjoyable ride."
At any other moment, a crack like that would have woken the fiend in Bertram Wooster. I barely noticed it. I was intent on getting to the bottom of this mystery. "But I say, Jeeves, what?"
Sir."
"What does all this mean?"
"You refer, sir—" Of course I refer. You know what I'm talking about. What has been happening here since I left? This place is positively stiff with happy endings. Yes, sir. I am glad to say that my efforts have been rewarded.
What do you mean, your efforts? You aren't going to try to make out that rotten firebell scheme of yours had anything to do with it?
Yes, sir.
Don't be an ass, Jeeves. It flopped.
Not altogether, sir. I fear, sir, that I was not entirely frank with regard to my suggestion of ringing the fire bell. I had not really anticipated that it would in itself produce the desired results. I had intended it merely as a preliminary to what I might describe as the real business of the evening.
You gibber, Jeeves.
No, sir. It was essential that the ladies and gentlemen should be brought from the house. In that order, once out of doors, I could ensure that they remained there for the necessary period of time.
How do you mean?
My plan was based on psychology, sir.
How?
It is a recognized fact, sir, that there is nothing that so satisfactorily unites individuals who have been so unfortunate as to quarrel amongst themselves as a strong mutual dislike for some definite person. In my own family, if I may give a homely illustration, it was a generally accepted axiom that in times of domestic disagreement it was necessary only to invite my Aunt Annie for a visit to heal all breaches between the other members of the household. In the mutual animosity excited by Aunt Annie, those who had become estranged were reconciled almost immediately. Remembering this, it occurred to me that were you, sir, to be established as the person responsible for the ladies and gentlemen being forced to spend the night in the garden, everybody would take so strong a dislike to you that in the common sympathy they would sooner or later come together.
I would have spoken, but he continued.
And such proved to be the case. All, as you see, sir, is now well. After your departure on the bicycle, the various estranged parties agreed so heartily in their abuse of you that the ice, if I may use the expression, was broken, and it was not long before Mr. Glossop was walking beneath the trees with Miss Angela, telling her anecdotes of your career at the university in exchange for hers regarding your childhood, while Mr. Finknottle, leaning against the sundial, held Miss Bassett enthralled with stories of your school days. Mrs. Travers, meanwhile, was telling Monsieur Anatole—
I found speech.
"Oh," I said, "I see.
And now, I suppose, as the result of this dashed psychology of yours, Aunt Dahlia is so sore with me that it will be years before I can dare to show my face here again. Years, Jeeve, during which, night after night, Anatole will be cooking those dinners of his."
No, sir. It was to prevent any such contingency that I suggested that you should bicycle to Kingham Manor. When I informed the ladies and gentlemen that I had found the key, and it was borne in upon them that you were having that long ride for nothing, their animosity vanished immediately, to be replaced by cordial amusement. There was much laughter.
There was, eh?
Yes, sir. I fear you may possibly have to submit to a certain amount of good-natured chaff, but nothing more. Also, if I may say so, all, if I may say so, sir, is forgiven.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
I mused a while.
You certainly seem to have fixed things. Yes, sir.
Tuppy and Angela are once more betrothed. Also, Gussie and the Bassett. Uncle Tom appears to have coughed up that money for milady's boudoir. And Anatole is staying on.
Yes, sir.
I suppose you might say that all's well that ends well?
Very apt, sir.
I mused again.
All the same, your methods are a bit rough, Jeeves. One cannot make an omelette without breaking eggs, sir. I started. Omelette, do you think you could get me one? Certainly, sir. Together with half a bot of something? Undoubtedly, sir. Do so, Jeeves, and with all speed. I climbed into bed and sank back against the pillows. I must say that my generous wrath had ebbed a bit. I was aching the whole length of my body, particularly toward the middle, but against this you had to set the fact that I was no longer engaged to Madeline Bassett. In a good cause one is prepared to suffer. Yes, looking at the thing from every angle, I saw that Jeeves had done well, and it was with an approving beam that I welcomed him as he returned with the needful. He did not check up with this beam. A bit grave, he seemed to me to be looking, and I probed the matter with a kindly query. Something on your mind, Jeeves? Yes, sir. I should have mentioned it earlier, but in the evening's disturbance it escaped my memory. I fear I have been remiss, sir. Yes, Jeeves, I said, champing contentedly. In the matter of your mess jacket, sir. A nameless fear shot through me, causing me to swallow a mouthful of omelette the wrong way. I'm sorry to say, sir, that while I was ironing it this afternoon, I was careless enough to leave the hot instrument upon it. I very much fear that it will be impossible for you to wear it again, sir. One of those old, pregnant silences filled the room. I am extremely sorry, sir. For a moment, I confess, that generous wrath of mine came bounding back, hitching up its muscles and snorting a bit through the nose, but, as we say on the Riviera, à quoi sert-il? There was nothing to be gained by G.W. now. We Woosters can bite the bullet. I nodded moodily and speared another slab of omelette. Righto, Jeeves. Very good, sir. And that is the end of Righto, Jeeves. That was really funny. I like that one a lot. Okay, I'm just looking at the big title at the very top of the Kindle. It says, The Jeeves and Wooster Series, The Glorious Adventures of Bertram Wooster, and his valet, Reginald Jeeves. I don't think they've said his first name in this. I don't recall them saying his first name at all. But yeah, the full title of this actually mentions, his valet, Reginald Jeeves. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you guys like it? Did you like? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it awesome? Was it let's not do that again? I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, it's obviously, a very, very particular style. Yeah, we got Rose. Okay, I imagine it sounds like Rose kind of enjoyed it. Nice. Very nice. Was this the Jeeves, the old search of... you know what? I don't know. Yeah, I remember that. You ask Jeeves. Jeeves has been a stereotypical butler name for as long as I can remember, but I don't know if it if that came from these books or not, because I've never read these before. But yeah, I don't know. I would not be surprised. Hexagraph. I would not be surprised at all. Anyway, thank you again, Rose, throwing down some embers. The crown, no less. I am the king. I am. Alrighty. Man. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, shall we do a little short story to end the day with? Just a little one? Just a little one. We probably should. Just something to wind down with. But man, I need to get a stretch and get out and maybe get some, I should fire up the other Xbox and do some Just Dance. Not live on stream, but get some exercise in. It is, yeah. The dialogue's very good, and there was lots of callbacks as well.
Lots of callbacks, like where something is said or mentioned in the beginning, and then like a couple more times during the course of the book there'd be like mentions to that thing there, like putting it in a new light or like amplifying it a bit more. So that was that would be pretty good. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Just take a little breather there. That was a great read. That was a great. I wouldn't mind doing some more of these. I'm not sure which other ones. I'm not sure which other ones are in the public domain. I know some of them are. I don't know if all of them are. You want Dance Squad? That's a little complicated right now. I can't Legia Zone. Not right now. Make sure I have my life alert with me. What? Uh-huh. Alrighty. Let's see. What are we doing? Oh yeah, let's find a short story. We'll find a little short story to read. What are we gonna read? Bum bum bottom. I can't right now. I can't. All right. Okay. So let's pull up. Well, we can just do something goofy from the Book of Wonder again. I don't think anyone thought that it was going to end so briefly as it did. The horde of the Gibberlins. That was pretty funny. Oh. The Wonderful Window. Is that the one I think it is? Yeah, let's do this one. The Wonderful Window. This will be a great story. Let me just change our title here. The Wonderful Window. Yeah, so it's going to end on a short story by who's that? By Lord Dunsany. Oh boy. Okay, feeling a little tired. That's okay. Tell you what, that was kind of tricky on the old vocal cords there. That one there. Dance Squad position. No, I literally I can't. It's not set up. Legia, it's not set up. Okay. Uh-huh. Napping till 10 p.m. Eastern. Good gracious. Yeah, it's boy. If only there was a way to get that under control. Your regular sleeping schedule there, Shadowtronics. That would make a world of difference. So here we go. We're going to read a short story to end our day with here. Just a little short story. Honey tea, maybe. Well, yeah. Actually, right now it just needs a bit of rest. Yeah. So, yeah. The Wonderful Window. Oh, I just need to hit refresh on a couple of pages here. Uh-oh. Boy, oh boy. Have a map updating and the like. Let's see, do we have got anyone? Oh, actually, looks like we do. We do have someone over on Twitch. Hey, what's going on?
Tillable Cat 8011
Oh.
50 embers with the message, spilled tea, tea for you and you for tea.
There we go. Well, thank you, Tillable Cat. That's very kind, very kind. Yeah, actually, a nice cup of tea would be good. It's up there to Lit Big J. What is up? We're doing good. Yeah. Just wanted to say a quick little hello to our friend over on Twitch there. I don't often stream over to Twitch. I'm also restreaming over to YouTube as well. But yeah, for the next couple of weeks I am. Just because there's so many people stuck at home. School's out. Working from home. People can't go to work. So, but yeah, I'm just expanding my my regular story time streams over here on Mixer out to a couple of different platforms. Just for a short bit. But yeah, our main stream is over here on Mixer, mixer.com/CarringtonTV. And we read about 40 hours of live book narration every month. So, yeah, I hope we can keep you company, get you through a little bit of this big shutdown thing. As what? Oh, Lady Death, why do you have to burst my bubble like that? Why? No, it's just Lady Death, everyone. Alrighty. Okay, never mind. Just Lady Death. False alarm. False alarm. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Anyway, what's Too Lit up to today? We've just finished the big novel. We've been working on it for like the past week and a half. Just finished that today, and like 5 minutes ago, actually. And we were just going to read one short story to wind the day down with. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you're going to like this one. And of course, we'll be back later this evening with gaming. Tonight, Halo Wars 2, Halo Master Chief Collection, and probably some more Bleeding Edge. Try that out again. See if we can get a team that can tell people where they're going. That was the big thing. That was the big thing. As soon as people started doing that, it all started coming together. But it's when people were just like going off by themselves, just being like, the other team, I mean, all it takes is like 2-3 of the other team to just surround them like a pack of wolves taking down that lone lamb. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was for a bit we had it, and then it kind but it needs a lot of work. A lot of work. Yeah. All right. So that's how the good Halo teams win too. They're constantly like on top of everything. All right. But yeah, in a 4v4, that kind of thing. I mean, it's much easier in Paladins. It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, Paladins you can't change though in between respawns. But Overwatch, yeah. I mean, but in Overwatch it's 6v6, so it doesn't matter if you have some randos running around. 4v4, you got to be tight. Got to be tight like a tiger. Yeah, that's right. All right, so here we go. Last little short story to end the day with. Oh, don't forget, the rest of the week is going to be short stories because we finished our novel. I only start new novels on a Monday. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be short stories. Give me suggestions. I'll read what I can. So throw them into Discord so I can find them, or message me or whatever. And Sundays, of course, Short Story Sunday. And on Monday, we're starting Whose Body? The Murder Mystery by Dorothy L. Sayers. That's going to be awesome. Okay, here we go. But let's do it. Let's go. Here's our little short story to end the day with. I don't know how long it is. It won't be that long. It's Lord Dunsany. The Wonderful Window. The old man in the oriental-looking robe was being moved on by the police, and it was this that attracted to him, and the parcel under his arm, the attention of Mr. Sladen, whose livelihood was earned in the emporium of Messieurs Mergin and Charter, that is to say, in their establishment. Mr. Sladen had the reputation of being the silliest young man in business. A touch of romance, a mere suggestion of it, would send his eyes gazing away, as though the walls of the Emporium were of gossamer, and London itself such a myth, instead of attending to customers. Merely the fact that the dirty piece of paper that wrapped the old man's parcel was covered with Arabic writing was enough to give Mr. Sladen the idea of romance, and he followed until the little crowd fell off, and the stranger stopped by the curb and unwrapped his parcel and prepared to sell the thing that was inside it. It was a little window in old wood, with small panes set in lead. It was not much more than a foot in breadth, and was under 2 feet long. Mr. Sladen had never before seen a window sold in the street, so he asked the price of it. "Its price is all you possess," said the old man. "Where did you get it?" said Mr. Sladen, for it was a strange window. "I gave all that I possessed for it in the streets of Baghdad." "Did you possess much?" said Mr. Sladen. "I had all that I wanted," he said, "except this window." "It must be a good window," said the young man.
"It is a magical window," said the old one.
I have only 10 shillings on me, but I have 15 and 6 at home." The old man thought for a while.
"Then 25 and 6 is the price of the window," he said.
It was only when the bargain was completed, and the 10 shillings paid, and the strange old man was coming for his 15 and 6, and to fit the magical window into his only room, that it occurred to Mr. Sladden's mind that he did not want a window. And then they were at the door of the house in which he rented a room, and it seemed too late to explain. The stranger demanded privacy when he fitted up the window, so Mr. Sladden remained outside the door, at the top of a little flight of creaky stairs. He heard no sound of hammering. And presently the strange old man came out with his faded yellow robe and his great beard and his eyes on far-off places.
"It is finished," he said,
and he and the young man parted. And whether he remained a spot of colour and an anachronism in London, or whether he ever came again to Baghdad, and what dark hands kept on the circulation of his 25 and 6, Mr. Sladden never knew. Mr. Sladden entered the bare-boarded room in which he slept, and spent all his indoor hours between closing time and the hour at which Messieurs Mergin and Charter commenced. To the penates of so dingy a room, his neat frock-coat must have been a continual wonder. Mr. Sladden took it off and folded it carefully. And there was the old man's window, rather high up in the wall. There had been no window in that wall hitherto, nor any ornament at all but a small cupboard. So when Mr. Sladden had put his frock-coat safely away, he glanced through his new window. It was where his cupboard had been, in which he kept his tea-things. They were all standing on the table now. When Mr. Sladden glanced through his new window, it was late in a summer's evening. The butterflies some while ago would have closed their wings, though the bat would scarcely yet be drifting abroad. But this was in London. The shops were shut, and street lamps not yet lighted. "Good morning, Paul Quinn." Mr. Sladden rubbed his eyes, then rubbed the window, and still he saw a sky of blazing blue, and far, far down beneath him, so that no sound came up from it, or smoke of chimneys, a medieval city set with towers, brown roofs and cobbled streets, and then white walls and buttresses, and beyond them bright green fields and tiny streams. On the towers archers lolled, and along the walls were pikemen, and now and then a wagon went down some old-world street, and lumbered through the gateway and out to the country, and now and then a wagon drew up to the city from the mist that was rolling with evening over the fields. Sometimes folks put their heads out of lattice windows, sometimes some idle troubadour seemed to sing, and nobody hurried or troubled about anything. Airy and dizzy though the distance was, for Mr. Sladden seemed higher above the city than any cathedral gargoyle, yet one clear detail he obtained as a clue. The banners floating from every tower over the idle arches had little golden dragons all over a pure white field. "Good morning, Mrs. Luscious." He heard motor buses roar by his other window. He heard the newsboys howling. Mr. Sladden grew dreamier than ever after that on the premises, in the establishment of Messieurs Mergin and Charter. But in one matter he was wise and wakeful. He made continuous and careful inquiries about the golden dragons on a white flag, and talked to no one of his wonderful window.
He came to know the flags of every king in Europe. He even dabbled in history. He made inquiries at shops that understood heraldry, but nowhere could he learn any trace of little dragons on a field argent. And when it seemed that for him alone those golden dragons had fluttered, he came to love them as an exile in some desert. As an exile in some desert might love the lilies of his home, or as a sick man might love swallows when he cannot easily live to another spring. As soon as Monsieurs Mergin and Charter closed, Mr. Sladen used to go back to his dingy room and gaze through the wonderful window until it grew dark in the city, and the guard would go with a lantern round the ramparts, and the night came up like velvet, full of strange stars. Another clue he tried to obtain one night by jotting down the shapes of the constellations, but this led him no further, for they were unlike any that shone upon either hemisphere. Each day, as soon as he woke, he went first to the wonderful window, and there was the city, diminutive in the distance, all shining in the morning, and the golden dragons dancing in the sun, and the archers stretching themselves or swinging their arms on the tops of the windy towers. The window would not open, so that he never heard the songs that the troubadours sang down there beneath the gilded balconies. He did not even hear the belfries' chimes, though he saw the jackdaws routed every hour from their homes. And the first thing that he always did was to cast his eye round all the little towers that rose up from the ramparts, to see that the little golden dragons were flying there on their flags. And when he saw them flaunting themselves on white folds from every tower against the marvelous deep blue of the sky, he dressed contentedly, and taking one last look, went off to his work with a glory in his mind. It would have been difficult for the customers of Messieurs Mergin and Charter to guess the precise ambition of Mr. Sladen as he walked before them in his neat frock coat. It was that he might be a man-at-arms or an archer, in order to fight for the little golden dragons that flew on a white field for an unknown king in an inaccessible city. At first Mr. Sladen used to walk round and round the mean street that he lived in, but he gained no clue from that. And soon he noticed that quite different winds blew below his wonderful window from those that blew on the other side of the house. In August, the evenings began to grow shorter. This was the very remark that the other employees made to him at the Emporium, so that he almost feared that they suspected his secret, and he had much less time for the wonderful window. For lights were few down there, and they blinked out early. One morning, late in August, just before he went to business, Mr. Sladen saw a company of pikemen running down the cobbled road toward the gateway of the medieval city. Golden Dragon City, he used to call it alone in his own mind, but he never spoke of it to anyone. The next thing that he noticed was that the archers were handling round bundles of arrows in addition to the quivers which they wore. Heads were thrust out of windows more than usual. A woman ran out and called some children indoors. A knight rode down the street, and then more pikemen appeared along the walls, and all the jackdaws were in the air. In the street no troubadour sang. Mr. Sladen took one look along the towers to see that the flags were flying, and all the golden dragons were streaming in the wind. Then he had to go to business. He took a bus back that evening, and ran upstairs. Nothing seemed to be happening in Golden Dragon City, except a crowd in the cobbled street that led down to the gateway. The archers seemed to be reclining, as usual, lazily in their towers. And then a white flag went down with all its golden dragons. He did not see at first that all the archers were dead. The crowd was pouring towards him, towards the precipitous wall from which he looked. Men with a white flag covered with golden dragons were moving backwards slowly. Men with another flag were pressing them, a flag on which there was one huge red bear. Another banner went down upon a tower. Then he saw it all. The golden dragons were being beaten, his little golden dragons. The men of the bear were coming under the window. Whatever he threw from that height would fall with terrific force. Fire irons, coal, his clock, whatever he had, he would fight for his little golden dragons yet. A flame broke out from one of the towers and licked the feet of a reclining archer. He did not stir. And now the alien standard was out of sight directly beneath. Mr. Sladen broke the panes of the wonderful window and wrenched away with a poker the lead that held them. Just as the glass broke, he saw a banner covered with golden dragons fluttering still. And then as he drew back to hurl the poker, there came to him the scent of mysterious spices. And there was nothing there, not even the daylight. For behind the fragments of the wonderful window was nothing but the small cupboard in which he kept his tea things. And though Mr. Sladen is older now, and knows more of the world, and even has a business of his own, he has never been able to buy such another window, and has not, ever since, either from books or men, heard any rumor at all of Golden Dragon City. Yeah. And I'm afraid, my friends, that is where we end. Wow, my forehead's totally blowing out. There we go. How's that? That's a little better. Yeah. It was very good. He's such a great author. Such a great author. Yeah. By the way, if just in case no one's taking advantage of those channel sub Discord things, I'm actually partway through recording this author, Lord Dunsany. He wrote a book of short stories called 51 Tales, and I'm recording those in my studio. I've recorded and uploaded 11 of them so far, and they're in the super secret section of Discord. And they're all like real short ones. They're much shorter, usually like 2 to 5 minutes long, something like that. More like Aesop kind of stuff. But yeah, if you like this author, that's where you can find them. And I also do the same thing over on Discord as well. In fact, not Discord, Patreon as well. I don't often talk about my Patreon thing, but yeah, that gets all the Lord Dunsany stuff, as well as additional longer form stuff over there as well. Just throwing that out there. But there we go. That is it. It is time to say good night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Yeah, it's just serious. Boy, it's really nice. It's really nice, like having a a bit of a social group here when I read these things out, experiencing some stories with other people. That whole storyteller kind of thing there. I like it. You saw the time and thought they were clips. Well, what time? Oh, no. That's no. I don't put clips. Are you talking about the super secret section? They're bat games. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So here's the plan. Okay. Yeah. So the plan for the tonight and for the week. So tonight we're going to be back 7 p.m. Pacific.
we're going to be doing some, not necessarily in this order, but Halo Wars 2, Halo Master Chief Collection, Bleeding Edge, which is now out on Game Pass. We're going to be doing those 3. Tomorrow for book club, we've just finished this novel here today, so tomorrow's just going to be short stories. We start a brand new novel on Monday. Friday and Saturday, just gaming a lot. And then on Sunday, we have Short Story Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, Sunday starts later than our regular time here. And then in the evening, Sunday evening, movie night. Movie night is going to be His Girl Friday. I've already got that downloaded, ready to go. A nice high quality copy. Actually, you can already find it in the super secret section, just in case anyone wants to watch it in advance. I don't know why you want to do that, but it's there. What else do we have? Tomorrow night we're finishing off the Batman thing. I think that's it. So back with book club tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, and then obviously tonight 7 p.m. Some gaming, and Lightning. I'll be editing your thing there in about an hour, and getting that to you in about an hour, maybe two, but yeah, I'm going to be doing that shortly. I recorded it yesterday, editing it today. All right, with some other stuff. So have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the new embers. So let's roll some credits. Yeah. Thank you for the embers. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for all those sparks. Good Lord, over 14 million. That's a nice start. Yeah. Thank you for all of the hosts, of course. We're going to end our stream. We're going to pass it on over to Mr. Galen. He's a very cool cat. And is he? Oh, he's not on. Oh yeah, he is. There he is. He is on. Yeah, we're just gonna chillax over there for a bit. Did the roll credits thing go? Did no one do it? Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, there we go. Let's do it. Oh, that's I know who that is. Where'd it go? Did that not pop up? Oh, yeah, my FTL's... There it is. Okay, my FTL's turned off. I heard that way before everything showed up there. All right. Let's do it. Let's roll credits here. Here we go. Boop. Okay, just a quick little summary of what it is. There we go. You are the best. You are all the best. I love those little smileys. They look awesome. Oh, and yeah, I need to work on my smileys today too. Emojis. Rose Morales getting in the last word there. Good gracious. Bit of a jabberjaw right there. Tillable Cat, Blitzberg, Hexagraph, Chris Albert. You know, there's a lot of people who I think that count is off there as well. I'm pretty sure that count is not accurate. But it's okay. There we go. I like that. Mod Chatters, Shadowtronics, Lady Death, both getting some words in there. Some embers. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Tillable Cat. Very much. Thank you. There was someone else who, I'm sure there was someone else. There was a third person thing. Let me just scroll back up. Tillable Cat and Rose. Was there that there was... Tillable... Oh, that was Tillable Cat right there. I don't know. I'm gonna check out this Discord, see if there's something else. A couple of new followers. Mrs. Luscious and Too Lit. I like that. Look at all them hosts. That's what we're talking about. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the stream, if you would like your friends to enjoy the stream, please let them know. Oh, Shadowtronics gifted a sub to Halo Collector. Very nice. Very nice. There we go. Yeah, so if you are enjoying the stream, share the link to it with your friends on your social media. You know, if you think that someone, because we're so many people stuck at home right now, so if you know someone who wants to you know, could use some, like, you know, light entertainment, some you know, light book club kind of stuff, let them know about the stream. You know, throw it up on Twitter or Facebook and tell your friends about it there. I mean, if they can find it useful, distracting, taking your mind off of things, a bit of relief, a bit of comedy, just a bit of fun social stuff, fun online social stuff. I think a lot of people will find that very, very useful over the, well, not only weeks, but months. It's going to be. Yes, Paul Quinn, I am going to be back later. 7 p.m. Pacific. 7 p.m. Pacific for gaming. And tonight's games, Halo Wars 2, Halo Master Chief Collection, and Bleeding Edge. Not necessarily in that order. Actually, all three of those games are on Game Pass, by the way. My live stream is very, very good and cool. Well, thank you, Lightning. I appreciate that. Thank you. Bat Games is going to share out the link. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, let's okay, that's it. I'm going to throw you over to my friend. You all know Mr. Art by Galen. Very cool cat. That's where we're going.